So we just covered sensory control, so let's look at motor control. It certainly deserves some of the attention. And as we'll see, the precentral gyrus is devoted to a portrait of the body that's laid out along it, just like we saw with the postcentral gyrus and the somatosensory cortex. Of course, there are some regions of the body that, while sending in sensory inputs, don't receive motor outputs. So we'll see some of those areas missing in the homunculus for the motor cortex, as well as perhaps some that are reduced or even some that may be expanded. So the premotor area, remember, is in the frontal lobe. It's the association area for figuring out complex motor sequences, and then that information will be sent to our motor cortex. All right, and then the motor cortex will actually execute the actions. And this involves the neurons of the precentral gyrus, which we looked at in the previous video. So this premotor area is going to involve a collection of signals and a determination on what to do with that information. So there will be something that happens eventually sent to the motor cortex to execute the muscle contraction or action by the body. As we saw with the postcentral gyrus, we have somatotopy again displayed here, like I was discussing earlier, the idea that there's a region in the brain specifically devoted to a region found in the body. We'll see that the neurons for toe development are deep in the longitudinal fissure, just like we saw for the postcentral gyrus in terms of sensory inputs, and that the gyrus, the summit, the high point of it, will be devoted to the trunk, shoulder, and arm, and then the lower regions will process the face, just as we saw with the sensory side of things. Just to remind you, here's the precentral gyrus and its location in front of or rostral to the central sulcus. So here is our motor homunculus. Notice, of course, we don't have much of a motor output to our genitals, and so they won't be here, but we do have, this doesn't look too off from what we saw in the sensory homunculus, but here you see a bit more extensive motor outputs to the hand and especially the thumb. The face still receives a large degree of motor output, and then when you throw in the tongue with that portion of the face, it obviously involves a huge amount of real estate in this precentral gyrus.